Question: how do you stop feeling less than every time you go online? You shift your mindset. Next time you feel yourself slipping into comparison mode, don't just passively let it happen. Pause. Take a deep breath. Then ask yourself 3 powerful questions. Welcome back to the Cosmic Ballet. I'm your host, Fish, and today we're diving into something that could change the way you see yourself forever. Your unique value. Let me ask you something. What if I told you that you have something no one else on this planet has? Not a single soul in the billions who have ever lived, who are alive right now, or who will ever exist shares your exact combination of knowledge, skills, and perspective. No one. You are a one-of-a-kind force in this universe, and that means you hold a power no one else can claim. But here's the real question. Are you using it? Are you stepping into that power? Or are you still trying to fit into someone else's mold, waiting for permission to be exactly who you were destined to be? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just understand your unique value, you'll be ready to own it, leverage it, and use it to create a life of impact, success, and deep fulfillment. Let's get it. Close your eyes for a moment and think about your fingerprint. Imagine the intricate, swirling lines completely unique to you. Out of the billions of people who have ever lived, no one else has the exact same pattern. Not a single person on this planet, past or present, carries your fingerprints. That's incredible, right? Now, I want you to take that same concept and apply it to your mind, your experiences, and your way of thinking. No one has lived your exact life. No one has walked through your personal triumphs or endured your unique struggles. No one else has felt the world quite like you have, through your own eyes, through your emotions, through your deeply personal perspective. Think about all the experiences that have shaped you. The ones that made you stronger, the ones that challenged you, the ones that changed you in ways you never expected. The late night conversations that altered your mindset, the setbacks that forced you to grow, the victories that made you believe in yourself a little more. Every single moment has crafted you into the person you are right now. And yet, despite this undeniable truth, how often do we doubt our own value? How often do we brush aside our uniqueness and think, who am I to do something special? Who am I to stand out? I want you to stop right there, because here's what I need you to understand. Every innovation, every moment, every breakthrough in history has happened because someone dared to lean into what made them different. They didn't shrink themselves to fit into someone else's mold. They didn't mute their ideals because they seemed unconventional. They stepped fully into their uniqueness, and the world was changed because of it. Your uniqueness is not an accident. Consider this. If every person on Earth had the same perspective, creativity would vanish. There would be no new inventions, no fresh ideals, no groundbreaking works of art or literature. The beauty of humanity is found in our diversity of thought. It's found in the countless ways we express, create, and contribute. Imagine if every musician wrote the same song. Imagine if every artist painted with the same strokes. Imagine if every entrepreneur built the same type of business, or if every scientist asked the exact same questions. Progress would halt. The magic of discovery, of creativity, of innovation would just disappear. And you're part of that magic. Your way of seeing the world is different from anyone else's, and that difference is valuable. Whether you realize it or not, the way you think, the way you problem solve, the way you dream, these things matter. The world doesn't need another carbon copy of someone else's success. It needs you. Fully, unapologetically, you. So let's take a moment to uncover what makes you one of a kind. Because once you recognize your unique value, you begin to embrace it, refine it, and share it with the world in a way that no one else can. That's what I want you to do right now. Grab a notebook, open the Notes app on your phone, or simply reflect in your mind. I want you to answer these 3 questions with complete honesty. Number 1, what's a challenge you faced in life that taught you a valuable lesson? Maybe it was overcoming an illness, growing up in a difficult environment, or facing rejection. Think about how that experience shaped you. What did it teach you about resilience, problem solving, or human nature? Number 2, what's a skill or talent you've developed over time that others often recognize in you? And it doesn't have to be something grandiose or flashy. Maybe you're great at listening and offering thoughtful advice. Maybe you have an eye for design, a talent for writing, or a knack for bringing people together. Whatever it is, I want you to acknowledge it. Number 3, what's a belief or perspective you hold that has shaped the way you see the world? Have you developed a mindset that pushes you to keep going, even when things get tough? Do you see possibilities where others see obstacles? What personal philosophy has guided you through life? Now look at your answers. These aren't just random facts about you. These are the building blocks of your unique value. Think about it. There's no other person who has lived your challenge, developed your skill set, cultivated your perspective in the same exact way. That combination is what makes you irreplaceable. When you lean into this, when you truly begin to recognize and embrace it, you unlock a level of self-worth and confidence that no one can take away from you. So the question is, will you embrace your uniqueness or will you keep hiding it? Because the world is waiting for what only you can bring. Let's be honest. How often have you scrolled through social media and felt like your life just wasn't measuring up? You open Instagram and there it is. A friend posted a picture from a breathtaking vacation in Bali, another celebrating their engagement with a sparkling diamond ring, and yet another flashing the keys to their brand new dream home. Over on LinkedIn, someone just announced they landed their dream job, one that pays 6 figures, comes with a corner office, and has perks you didn't even know existed. Meanwhile, you're sitting at home staring at your screen wondering, why doesn't my life look like that? You tell yourself, maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I should be further ahead. Maybe I should have figured things out by now. And that's when the doubt creeps in. But here's the truth. What you're seeing isn't the full story. Social media is a highlight reel. It's a carefully curated collection of people's best moments, their wins, their high points. What you don't see are the struggles, the late night breakdowns, the failures that came before the success. Think about it. When was the last time you saw someone post about getting rejected from a job or about crying in the shower because they felt lost? When was the last time someone shared their bank account balance when it was dangerously close to zero? They don't post that because people don't typically broadcast their struggles, their insecurities, or their setbacks. But that doesn't mean those things don't exist. For every person you see winning online, there's a backstory filled with the challenges they had to overcome. Challenges they probably aren't posted about. Now let's talk about why comparison is so dangerous. When you compare your life to what you see online, you're stacking your behind the scenes against someone else's highlight reel. That ain't no fair fight. You're looking at your struggles, your doubts, your uncertainties, and measuring them against someone else's best moments. Of course it feels like you're coming up short. The fight is fixed. But let's flip the script for a second. Imagine if someone was looking at your social media right now. Maybe you don't even realize it, but someone out there is looking at your life and thinking, wow, they got their shit together. They might be admiring your resilience, your talent, your creativity, things you might not even notice about yourself because you're too busy comparing yourself to someone else. Comparison steals your joy, your focus, and your motivation. It tricks you into believing that you're not enough when in reality, you're exactly where you need to be. So then you ask yourself, okay, so what do I do, Fish? How do I stop feeling less than every time I go online? You shift your mindset. Next time you feel yourself slipping into comparison mode, don't just passively let it happen. Pause. Take a deep breath. Then ask yourself these 3 powerful questions. Number 1, what do I admire in this person? Instead of feeling envious, recognize what specifically draws you to them. Is it their work ethic, their confidence, their creativity, their ability to take risk? Number 2, how can I develop my own version of that strength or skill? So instead of wishing you were them, ask, how can I cultivate the same qualities in my own way? Maybe you admire how someone speaks with confidence. Can you start practicing that in small ways? Maybe you love how someone has built a successful business. Can you start learning the basics of entrepreneurship? Number 3, what unique perspective do I have that they don't? Here's something most people forget. While you're busy admiring someone else's success, they don't have your perspective, your experience, or your creativity. You have things they don't. You've lived through moments that shaped you in ways that make you powerful. No one else can replicate your path. When you shift from envy to empowerment, comparison stops being a weapon against you and instead becomes a tool for growth. Now that you're aware of the dangers of comparison, let's take real action. Because awareness alone, it's not enough. You need to protect yourself, your mindset, from the constant pressure of social media. So I've got some action steps that we're gonna go through. Go through your social media account today and do a deep cleanse. So you're gonna unfollow or mute any accounts that make you feel insecure or less than. If someone's posts consistently make you feel like you're not enough, it's okay to take a break from them. And then you're gonna follow more accounts that uplift and inspire you. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth, not comparison. Seek out content that motivates you to become a better version of yourself rather than content that makes you feel like you're never enough. Because here's the truth. Your time and energy, they're too valuable to waste on comparisons. Your journey is yours alone, and it's not meant to look like anybody else's. The only person you should ever compete with is the person you were yesterday. So next time you see someone posting about their incredible success, instead of thinking, I wish that was me, try thinking, I'm on my own path, and my story is unfolding exactly as it should. Let me ask you something else. Have you ever had a moment where you felt like you were just faking it? Like no matter how much experience you have, how many accomplishments you've earned, or how many people have validated your abilities, there's still this lingering feeling that one day someone's gonna figure you out and that you actually don't belong. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. That's imposter syndrome. And it's one of the biggest barriers to embracing your unique value. I actually did a video strictly on imposter syndrome, and I'm gonna link that in the clips at the end of this video. So make sure you check that out. But imposter syndrome, it's that sneaky little voice in your head, and it whispers, who do you think you are? It makes you question yourself before you even begin. It convinces you that you're not ready, that you're not smart enough, talented enough, or experienced enough to step up, to speak out, to claim your place. But here's what most people don't realize. Even the people you admire, the ones who seem confident, successful, completely in control, they felt this too. They've had those moments where they questioned their abilities, doubted their worth, and wondered if they were good enough. The difference? They didn't let it stop them. Let that sink in for a minute. The authors whose books changed your life, they probably wondered if their words were good enough. The entrepreneurs who built massive companies, they had moments of doubt where they weren't sure if their ideals would work. The artists, the leaders, the pioneers who shaped history, they all had fear. The defining factor between those who succeed and those who stay stuck, it isn't the absence of doubt, it's the ability to move forward in spite of it. Self-doubt, it isn't just something that appears out of nowhere, it has roots. It often comes from years, sometimes decades of conditioning, of absorbing messages that told you to stay in your lane, wait your turn, don't stand out too much. Maybe you grew up in an environment where mistakes were criticized instead of seen as part of learning. Maybe you were taught that success was reserved for a certain type of person, people with more talent, more resources, or more connections. Maybe you've been in situations where someone made you feel small, dismissed your ideals, or made you believe you weren't capable. And over time, those experiences planted seeds of doubt that took root in your mind. They made you second guess yourself. They made you hesitate before stepping into your full potential. But here's the thing. Just because a thought exists in your mind does not mean it's true. You've been conditioned to doubt yourself, but that doesn't mean you have to stay in that mindset. You have the power to rewire the way you think about yourself and your abilities. Take a moment. Close your eyes if you need to. I want you to think about the moments in your life when you felt completely in your element. Those moments where time disappeared, where you felt engaged, where something inside of you just clicked. Maybe it was when you were helping a friend solve a problem. Maybe you were creating something, writing, designing, playing music, building, or maybe leading a team. Maybe it was when you were teaching, organizing, negotiating, or, making people laugh. That feeling, that's your natural talent at work. That's where your strengths are calling you. But here's the thing. Most of us don't spend enough time leaning into those strengths. Instead, we focus on what we think we should be good at, what society tells us this is your value, or where you think you're lacking. We get caught up in fixing our weaknesses rather than amplifying our natural abilities. We understand what we're great at because it comes so easily to us. But think about this. If you're naturally good at something, it probably doesn't feel special to you anyway. You might assume, everyone can do this, right? But they can't. What's easy for you isn't easy for everyone else. That skill, that talent, that thing you do effortlessly, that's where your real power is. Consider the friend who always seems to know what to say when you're struggling. That's emotional intelligence. That's a skill. Think about the person who can look at a messy situation and immediately create structure. That's organization and leadership. That's a strength. Think about the person who can hear a song once and play it back on any instrument. That's a gift. That's something extraordinary. Yet these people, they may not see their strengths as valuable because they assume, doesn't everyone think like this? No, and that includes you. You have strengths that you take for granted. Strengths that, if you lean into them, could elevate your career, relationships, your entire life. Your strengths hold the key to your greatest impact. Imagine this. What if you built a life that fully aligned with your strengths? What if, instead of trying to be something you're not, You double down on what already makes you great. What if you could take what you love doing and find ways to apply it to your work, your hobbies, or even a new project? When you operate in your strengths, life doesn't just get easier, it becomes more fulfilling. Your work feels more aligned. Your confidence grows because you're constantly playing to your natural abilities. You make a greater impact because you're doing what you were built to do. This is where real success comes from. Not from forcing yourself to be something you're not, but from embracing what makes you, you. Let's put this into action right now. Number one, I want you to write down 5 things you're naturally good at. Think about what people compliment you on, what comes easily to you, or what energizes you when you do it. Don't filter yourself. Don't downplay it. If it comes to mind, write it down. Number 2, now, next to each one, I want you to write how you currently use that skill in your life. Do you use it in your job? In your relationships? In your hobbies? Maybe it's a skill you've been neglecting or haven't had the chance to fully explore. Number 3, brainstorm one way you could integrate each of these strengths more into your daily life. Could you use it more in your career? Could you start a passion project around it? Could you mentor someone in that area? Possibly refine and improve that skill to take it to the next level? Number 4, challenge yourself to take action on at least one strength this week. Maybe it's as simple as offering to help a colleague with something you're good at. Maybe it's setting aside 30 minutes to practice a skill. Maybe it's finally launching that idea you've been waiting on. The key is to use what you already have instead of waiting for something outside of you to change. Imagine if the world's greatest musicians, writers, innovators, and leaders had ignored their natural abilities. Imagine if they decided, this isn't special enough. This isn't valuable enough. Think of all the brilliance, beauty, and breakthroughs the world would have missed out on. Now realize this, the same thing applies to you. Your strengths were given to you for a reason. They're meant to be used. They're meant to be shared. When you embrace them, when you lean into them fully, you don't just improve your own life. You create a ripple effect that touches everyone around you. So today, make a commitment to yourself. Recognize what you're great at. Stop downplaying your gifts. And most importantly, start using them. The world needs what only you can bring. In conclusion, your uniqueness is your greatest asset. It's what sets you apart, what makes you valuable, and what will lead you to the success and fulfillment you're looking for. But here's what I want you to really take away from this. It's not enough to just know you're unique. You have to own it, leverage it, and share it with the world. Right now, as you sit there watching this video, you have something inside of you that no one else does. A story that only you can tell. A skill set that only you have mastered in the way that you have. A perspective that only you can bring, and that means something, that matters. But the question is, are you using it? Are you showing up fully as yourself, or are you shrinking back, waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right level of confidence? Are you second guessing whether you're good enough, whether you measure up, whether you're ready? If you are, I want you to stop right now and ask yourself this. If not now, when? If not you, who? Because here's the truth. No one else can do what you're meant to do in exactly the way you're meant to do it. If you don't step into your uniqueness, if you don't own your voice, your talents, and your experiences, the world will never get the full impact of what could be offered. And that would just be a great loss, not just for you, but for everyone who could have possibly been inspired, been helped, or transformed by what you bring to the table. The world doesn't need another carbon copy of someone else's success. It doesn't need you trying to fit into a mold that you were never meant for. It needs you, fully and unapologetically, you. The real, unfiltered, powerful, one-of-a-kind you. And when you truly embrace that, when you stand in your own truth, when you stop playing games, stop playing small, that's when everything changes. Now I want to hear from you. Right now, in the comments, tell me one unique skill, experience, or perspective that sets you apart. Something that no one else has in the exact same way. Maybe it's a life lesson you learned, a talent you've developed, or a way of seeing the world that makes you different. Drop it in the comments below, because today we're not just acknowledging our uniqueness, we're owning it. Plus, someone else is going to be able to see that and say, you know what? Yeah, I got something similar to that, or I got something completely opposite than that. And it's going to trigger that butterfly effect. Everybody's going to start chiming in. And that's what we need. If the message resonated with you, if something in this video made you think, made you reflect, made you realize your own potential, do me a favor. Share it. Send it to a friend. Send it to somebody who just needs this reminder. Post it on your socials, or just take a moment to sit with it and let it sink in. Because the more we celebrate our own uniqueness, the more we inspire others to do the same. That's all I got for you today. So until the next time, stay humble, stay grounded, but most importantly, stay you.